We decided to do something different. So welcome to our new season, our new platform, our new HQ. This is Stream Sport. Welcome to the show. Glad to have your company. Troy's here. He will be every single week. Paddy's here doing the technical bits as well. Everyone's family in here. Zayn, you can't see Zayn, but he's off camera at the moment. I'm pleased to say that our special guest is a League Cup winner, Cameron Jerome. Cameron, hello.
Morning, Darren.
What do you think? What do you think of our studio?
Nice, brilliant. It's a nice little setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are making your debut with us.
I know, and the Wembley background as well.
Why is that significant?
Well, you've played there, right?
Well, don't want to say, but yeah. Now we're on the subject. But yeah, obviously it's local to Wembley as well, you know what I mean? So, yeah, nice.
Do you have good memories about beating Arsenal in the final?
To be fair, you know what? Other than my last appearance at Wembley, all of them was positive. So all my memories there were obviously, you know, good moments in my career. For various reasons, but obviously the Arsenal one's a trump for me. Obviously, you know,
how many times did you go?
5 or 6 times, I think, and all
right,
winners.
Don't brag.
No, do you know that point where like 5 or 6? Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's
I know, yeah, but no, it was obviously it's the home of football, isn't it? Wembley, you can't, you know, it's the pinnacle of everything. It's every young boy's dream. You know, growing up, national stadium, that you just want to get there. If you can get there in any sort of capacity, then. You know, obviously it's such a massive achievement. Totally agree.
We're going to go from the sublime to the ridiculous because yet again, I can't believe 30 minutes into a new season, there's a racist abuse incident, and it's on live television, so nobody can hide away from it. And we're going to talk about it. I know there's been a lot of football over the last couple of days, but we're going to talk about it precisely for the reason why English football continues to have that racism problem. Because it's been buried. Nobody's talking about it anymore. I hear highlights of the weekend of that particular game, and that is the one bit that people now are not discussing. So, Cameron, what did you make of it?
It's farcical, isn't it, really, if you're thinking about it in terms of it's 2025. Like you say, it's, we're 30 minutes into a new season, and even I feel like he even caught Semenyo off guard. I feel like he had a little look over his shoulder, and he's sort of in disbelief, wasn't he? Like, did I just hear that right?
So they asked him to say it again, didn't they?
Yeah. And he said it again, and obviously he's gone, oh wow, like I'm taking the throwing, I've done nothing wrong. The game's just flowing. There's no sort of fuel in the crowd in terms of something's happened what has made somebody to say something so spiteful or to feel so much anger and hatred towards somebody. It's ridiculous, man. I honestly have got no words.
You've been in that situation before, haven't you?
Yeah,
exactly that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced it a couple of times in terms of crowd ones where you've had that 1 or 2 shouts and you've looked almost like in direct contact with the person who's said it, and then they've sort of like shied away from it because you've almost confronted them with you looking at them. But I've had it on the pitch, you know, obviously through an opposition player, which, you know, was, again, I was caught in a little bit of disbelief. I was just like, did he say that? And I asked him to repeat it. He said it again, and I was just like, wow. This guy's just blatant, didn't it? So I did what Semenyo did. I stopped the game and obviously spoke to the referee and informed it about it. And he noted it down, went to the dugouts and spoke to the 4th official, and then obviously documented it, and we went on from there, sort of thing.
It's quite interesting because I wanted to ask you about the differences between the efficient way it was handled on Friday by the referee Anthony Taylor and the way it was handled in your situation. Was that fairly straightforward?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think the referee was spot on. As soon as I notified him, in my own experience, I feel like, he was, you know, straight to it. Right, okay, let's just stop here. We're gonna have to get this right, and the process, you know, was done efficiently and accordingly. And obviously, similar on Friday night when you see obviously Anthony Taylor just, you know, pause the game momentarily and, you know, go and handle the situation. But you know, it's never nice to see.
It's interesting, this conversation, because you've got the journalist, the player, and the campaigner. When you saw it, were you like me? I kind of felt, I was watching it with my daughter, and she said, "Dad, why have they stopped?" And I said to her, "Someone's been racially abused." I knew straight away when they called the 2 managers over, and it's quite an indictment when you know straight away as a black man. We know what's going on there.
Remember the scenario? It was a corner kick, so there's no need to talk to the touchline. But that's when Semenyo informed Anthony Taylor. So from the corner kick, he now has to pause the game and go over to and call the managers. So as he was walking over, unless it's something to do with his mic, which I think they said at the time in the commentary, you actually know what's going on. And as it progressed, the more the players
That's
came
right.
on.
They said straight away, didn't they? There's a
said
problem with his
something about the
microphone.
and
but
he hadn't even pointed to his microphone or started to unwind
so it was a guess.
Listen, Darren, for me, English football won't like this, and English football doesn't like to critique itself, particularly around racism. But it just proved that English football is in the gutter in regards to racism. It proves that, again, like you said, 29 minutes in, 30 minutes in, you've got to think about it in a really poignant occasion. Beginning of the game was very
emotional.
It's emotional, wasn't it? The end of the game was very emotional. So for that one fan to take away that emotion, because I think that emotion was involved in a lot of the game. They were capping on 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And to then decide to, as Cameron says, to identify Semenyo. There wasn't no heat in the game. There wasn't no cause for any kind of aggression. And to do that, it shows where we are. And people will say, well, how can football stop that? Well, football can stop that by being more aggressive in its manner, in the way that it deals with racism. More, taking more risk in regards to the banning structure, the way that we penalise people, the amount of games players get for racism, and it hasn't done it. So it emboldens people to believe I can do it as well.
And get away with this.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a society thing, though?
That's
a wider subject, I guess.
No, I'm going to answer on this one.
Go
I'm going to
on.
answer on this one because it's one of my pet peeves, and there are a lot of people within the game, even black footballers, who buy into this idea that it's a societal problem. And when we say that, we let football off the hook.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Society has problems, but if you were racist in an office, you're going to get sacked, or at the very least, get a written warning. Yeah, if you're a racist in a studio, you're going to get a written warning, suspended, whatever, possibly sacked. So many other industries and areas where if you are racially abusive, you are going to get punished. Football basically doesn't want to do the things it should. What football should be doing, I'll be real with you, football should be creating punishments for clubs so punitive, so crushing, that a player knows that if he's racially abusive towards a footballer, if another footballer, if a fan is racially abusive towards a player, he hurts his team. Because if that happens and you know that your team has something to lose, if you're the person responsible for racially abusing someone else, suddenly people stop. But I remember saying this to the people who were running football 15 years ago, and I remember somebody saying to me they didn't want to put
jeopardy on it, like
the
that.
jeopardy in the hands of players and fans.
But no one's going to lie, are they? Like in that sense, where like I know what you mean about the jeopardy, but I think like could you what we're talking about, a points deduction here or some sort of financial punishment?
I think that you could listen. We have points deduction if you spend too much money in football.
Yeah.
These things are not difficult.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing the same conversations. I'm tired of hearing I stand with. It means nothing. I stand with Cameron. What does that mean in the end of the day? How is that going to take away your trauma? How is that going to protect you as an 18, 19, 20-year-old young boy who should not be having to experience that when you go... You've got sons, right?
Yeah.
Right. Would you want for your son to have to go through that, knowing that if it does happen, at least they'll say, I stand with? What does that mean?
Well, that's the problem. Racism has become standardised now, because the minute it happens, you have the standardised statements that come out, and you look at all those statements, whether it's the Premier League, the FA, the football club, the police, every statement reads the same, apart from a couple of words. And for me, that shows me that actually you're not taking ownership of your language, of your words, and the I stand with, honestly, well, you're not, because when I'm walking on the football pitch, when I'm running down the line and someone's calling me or whatever they want to call me, you're nowhere to be seen. So it's great for people to not call it out, but to acknowledge it afterwards. But that doesn't save me. That doesn't save me from the hurt, the pain, the emotion that I saw on Semenyo's face at the time. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I hope he can recover. Now he did. He was brilliant. He was, and
but you're speaking to something else that I was thinking about, because I was thinking, I'll tell you, I was about to tweet that it would be fantastic if Semenyo were to respond with a hattie in that game.
Yeah.
But why does he have to respond with a hattie?
He
Why does he have
to
respond to anything?
Yeah, he shouldn't have to. Well, he doesn't.
That's what they were saying 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't, people saying, oh, how much resilience he showed, what he showed them. I've seen, again, I'll say it, I've seen ex-pros saying, you show them with a great performance.
Goals, yeah.
No, you shouldn't have to do that. Nah.
What happens if he's a centre-back then?
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't have the ability to score in the same way that Semenyo does?
Yeah.
What impact is it there,
Well, yeah, it's a different conversation, isn't it?
Troy asked about how does the player feel? You've been there. How does the player feel?
I've had it two ways, where I've had it from supporters and I've had it from opposition player. So it was like the supporters, I can get it. I do get that, and I shouldn't have to make an excuse for getting it. But I wouldn't say half expect it.
What do you mean?
You can half understand when you're in a stadium, the atmosphere's there, the energy's there, whether it's good, bad, whatever you want to call it. You can expect the odd idiot to shout out.
But no,
you shouldn't have to. But
I disagree with you, and I'm allowed now on this platform. I'll be real. I'm gonna cut you. No. This is the problem with football. There's not zero tolerance. Everyone talks about zero tolerance. Can you go to the theatre and say something sexist towards the leading lady?
In today's society, no. But
can you say something racist in a stadium? No. Why does football make these excuses for people who want to behave as though they've stepped into a time machine?
Yeah.
Listen, because of we're in a safe space here, I can push back at the idea that you can expect it's a societal problem, because I think football has groomed itself, and that's a really powerful word, and I use it advisedly. But football has conditioned people to believe.
Yeah, I think that's the correct term. Conditioned to believe. So even me now with my answer there, saying like you half expect it as a player, I didn't expect it from against another opponent. That for me was like wild. I was just like, what? Did I just hear that right? And he said it, and I was just like, the look what he was giving me when he was saying that, I was just like, wow. And that was because we'd had a little to and fro in the game, and it'd been a little bit of dragging, pulling, pushing. Obviously trying to strong arm me. That's never going to happen, so I'm obviously pushing back on that. And then obviously because I'd give him a little bit, then he'd.
But what was the feeling like? Well, how did you feel when the words came out of his mouth?
I was so shocked.
Yeah.
Because it was like I said, he was grappling at certain things. He was like obviously just old school stuff like elbows in and stuff like that. And I'd give him a couple of little digs to the ribs. And I think he was trying to like grab my shirt, so I'd give him another little dig to my corner.
Boxing career at that time?
Yeah, I was thriving. Thriving. Week in, week out. I think I was probably about 100-0. A few little cheeky digs. So yeah, I was giving him some of that. And then because I'd give him a couple, I think that's where he didn't know what else to do. Because he knew he couldn't try and bully me then. So obviously he's trying to strong arm me, coming to the back of me, trying to come through me. So I was giving him back, but tenfold. And then once I'd give him a couple of punches in, because he'd obviously give me a few elbows in the back of the neck or whatever it was, or down the back or in the face, like what? I was just like, okay.
But at that moment, his only way of getting control
was to say that.
Talk about the colour of the skin.
So I was just like, obviously, like I said, I asked him to repeat it, said it again. So then I was like, right, I'm actually going to stop this because otherwise I'm just going to turn around and flatten him. I'm just going to iron him out straight on the pitch. So like that was my thing. Do I hit him or do I go to the referee? And the referee sort of, I can't remember. I think it was Mark. It might have been Clattenburg. Mark Clattenburg. I think he sort of got eye contact with me and then was like looking as if to say, "Is there an issue there?" Because I think he'd seen a few fisticuffs or like sort of a battle taking place, and then I said, "Stop a second." And then obviously I went over and told him, and he's just like, "Okay, all right, we'll get this jot down." And he said, "I don't do anything stupid." And after that, I thought, right, okay, it's gonna play the game. But obviously I was a bit distracted from within that. Then obviously the performance a little bit affected because you're just so angry.
So your performance was affected.
Oh, 100%. It got to me so much. Yeah, I was so wound up, honestly.
But no one cares, do they, about your performance?
Well, just stay there for me. Stay there for me. So wound up. Go on.
I just wanted to fight. Then I was just like, I don't have really any sort of control over reality or the game. That's been and gone now. I'm just like, I'm not interested in the game now. I'm just like, I wanted to obviously hurt the guy, but obviously you can't do that.
How long did that take for you to calm down?
I think half time. I calmed down. The first half was like a bit of a blur.
So just give us context. So how long before it happened? Was it half time? How long was
about 20 minutes, I reckon, to go till half time. So first half, I'd say around about 25 minutes into the game, and then obviously you got another 20 minutes to go, and then it's only until half time that you could reset yourself and go, right, you've got a game, you've got a team,
So are you looking for him on the pitch to try to?
Yeah, every moment
engage
then
him
I
again?
was just trying to catch him. Yeah, every moment from a corner, from cross into the box, you just almost thinking, right, it's a bit kamikaze. You know, you're thinking, right, I'm going through you. If there's an opportunity, I'm actually gonna do you.
Just quickly, because I know we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
On this. People think the only impact is on you, but you've got family members, you've got people that may have been at the game and watching it and know that you've been impacted by it. Just a little insight into how many more people did it impact on, and what was the conversation like with the rest of your family, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, obviously saying what had happened and talking through the incident, it's like you just don't expect that to happen against it's not a peer, but like an opponent, you know, someone who's in the industry like you, black, white, you know, whatever ethnicity they are. You just, there's a line you don't cross, you know what I mean? It's like almost a respect thing. Like you talk about, you know, I always listen to other people, especially other sportsmen, talking about the duels they had against that person and that person, and they looked forward to competing against that person because he was a tough opponent and he'd give as good as they got, and there was a mutual respect element at the end of the match because, you know, you'd give it your all, and, you know, whatever was the outcome, but you respected that person because you're in the same boat as that person. You know, you're competing on the same pitch or same platform as that person, so, you know, you try your dark arts and, you know, try and get one up on your opponent. By all means, that's the nature of sport, but there's a line, and I don't think, you know, people come close to the line, but then crossing a line is crossing another boundary for me.
Troy talked about what do your family think. So again, and I mean, I'm saying this advisedly because I hate putting people back into their trauma, and sometimes people don't realise. For us all, we get abused so much. It's trauma each time. Yeah. But I do want people to understand, as Troy was saying, the impact. So take us back to you go home or you come into contact, I don't know, his partner, family. What's the first thing they said to you? Can you remember?
No, I think I explained what had happened. I don't think my wife came to the game, like, for whatever reason it might be, because it was a night game, so she probably would have been at home with the children. So she wouldn't have seen it. Obviously social media wasn't maybe as big then, so it wasn't as big a story as it potentially would have in today's game with how popular social media is and that sort of thing. So it kind of, I wouldn't say it got washed under the radar because it actually went to an FA hearing. But in terms of the noise around it was quite muffed in terms of, you know, if you have an Instagram and these sort of things now, it's not blown up, but rightly so, it gets out. It gets its exposure, doesn't it? No, straight away if an incident occurs, whereas then, you know, talking about 213, 214, it's a different sort of, it's almost a different era, isn't it? Really?
I have to address this bit. The FA hearing cleared the other guy. And you obviously are convinced that was the wrong decision.
Well, I wouldn't have done it.
We can't name the other guy for that reason. He has been cleared, but you have your own opinion.
Yeah, well, for me, I asked him to repeat it, so I know what he said. There was clarity in that. And then obviously went to the FA hearing, and because of his background and maybe his English isn't as clear, the way the lawyer was portraying it, who was defending him, was trying to say, he said another word which sounds like the word he said, which begins with N, which other countries use it as an acceptant way to
still
refer
now
to black people. So I was just like, okay, so that was the reason why they did it, and he tried to go down the lines of that I was only saying this, which for me doesn't mean this. In our language it means this sort of thing. So
how'd that leave you feeling?
I was a bit disappointed, you know. I was really, you know, really disappointed with that, and even the way the FA tried to like bring us together at the hearing, tried to make me shake his hand and stuff like that after, and I was thinking, you winding me up. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So
what happened?
We had the hearing. I had my lawyer, he had his lawyer. They spoke about the incident. I give my versions of events, he gave his version of events, and his lawyer sort of cross-examined me. So I was just like, wow, have I done something wrong here? Am I on the stand for this? Like,
did you feel under pressure to shake his hand? Did you shake his hand?
No, I didn't shake his hand, no. I felt like, because we was in a closed sort of room situation, that after the conclusion of the verdict, did they give the verdict there and then? Or did they give the verdict after? They might have given the verdict a bit after, I think. But they sort of tried to like squash it there, and I was just like, why would you then, you know what I mean? You wouldn't even dream of approaching somebody, I'd just blank it. You're done. You know what I mean?
So you just turned and looked.
I didn't even turn. I just looked at him, and then just looked past him, and just thought, I'm not shaking your hand. Start off your hand to be shaken, and obviously just retracted it back. And that.
Do you think that there was a big? Well, I do. I think at the time, football, and we've seen this lots of time, haven't we, T? That football tries to protect its image. And
Yeah,
so
100%.
The image of a black footballer
Troy
shaking
said
the
that
hands of someone.
English football.
That's almost the
doesn't like
most
critique itself.
the biggest endorsement of their decision. If you shake
His hand, I'm accepting that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got it wrong. I heard wrong here.
Yes.
I heard wrong, and because you've spun it in a way where you're trying to not manipulate, or you're trying to make it okay for him to have said something different, or something what sounds different and means something different to him. He's got a different interpretation of the meaning. It's not a derogatory word, whereas obviously it clearly is. But look, it happened, and you know it's an unfortunate experience I've had to have in the game. But you know, there's so many different experiences you go through as a footballer, and unfortunately that's one of them.
And this is why I said what I said from the outset about the game being in the gutter, because mirror Cameron's experience, you could mirror it. I had a team, a grassroots team, but effectively the same thing. My captain was cross-examined in a way that was to belittle his interpretation of the events, which he was quite clear on. So if it's going to happen to a senior pro, if it's going to happen to a 15-year-old who, you know, the experience is wild, and football is still trying to produce that kind of outcome. Let's just all shake hands and let's just make sure that it never happens again. That's why we never move on. So those people that believe that, one, it's societal, of course it's societal, but football has a responsibility every time someone goes through a stand, through a gate. It has a responsibility that has never dealt with effectively.
Your point is right, that the game is still in a position where people feel that they can go to stadiums and be racist with chest. And one of the things we can talk about this because you and I talked privately. I think with the culture now of toxicity that exists within the country, I think that there may be more situations, that's just saying off camera by the way, moving around. I think that there will be more situations where people in certain parts of the country, possibly even in London, here in London, feel that they can cross the line because of the state of, sadly, the nation at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point.
Listen, we've had it in pre-season. We've had it in the Women's Euros, the Salford one. We've still are waiting to find out what happened between Burnley and Preston, and whether the Preston forward is going to be punished. He's been charged, etc. Blah blah blah. That was 6 months ago. So there is a delay on all these kind of outcomes, which again, people then forget about what's going on and then focus on.
Was it with Hannibal?
With Hannibal, yeah. And we forget, and then we move on until the next time. Let's not forget, Tell was racially abused on social media as well on Wednesday night. So everyone's talking about they're there. They're in the public domain.
You're the father of a footballer, and you're a player. So you've got two different perspectives on what it must be like to have received racist abuse. I've received racist abuse because as black men, we all at some point have received it. How is it trying to, comfort is probably the wrong word, but as a family, how do you support?
There's no comfort in it. You just got to know that we're there, you know, in the same way as a bad performance, in the same way as a good performance. You know, you're there for your child because you know the damage that can be done to him internally, being targeted in that way. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, multiple times. But the only support you can do is behind closed doors. As a family, we are there for you in any way that you need to, or maybe if you don't need to. A lot of players are able to say, do you know what, it didn't impact on me, I can go again. I always say to players, but it stays, doesn't it? It's there at some point. So listen, the emotional support is always there because, as Cameron has alluded to, you get abuse on a regular basis, whether it's racial abuse or just targeted abuse because you play for the wrong club and you're in the wrong colour shirt. You played in the East Anglian derby, you know what that is. Do you know what I mean?
But I feel like that's okay in terms of because you're at the threshold, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you can target somebody for, I don't know, for playing for a team or having an association with a team, and you can get onto a player for whatever reason you want. You don't think he's a good player, or misses open goal, whatever it is you said, and that's that. Well, it is banter.
Yeah,
it's football banter, and that's what makes football special for me.
Yeah.
Those sort of that little bit of needle between teams where I mean, I was watching the Birmingham Ipswich game, the first game of the Championship, and Ashley Young got a hot reception because of the Villa association with Birmingham. You know what I mean? I was just like, wow. But like, obviously, I've played at Birmingham. They have like a sort of a mimicking thing. They sort of mock the player who's coming on or coming off. And I was thinking, oof, the atmosphere. It's like football's back. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that, because I remember Andros coming on for England at Sunderland, and then he was wearing the black and white of Newcastle. The reception he got, boy. When you say hotbed, just aimed at him, because otherwise it was a friendly against Australia. It was a nice game. Do you know what I mean? And then Andros coming on, up the tempo in the game and up the noise, and so we can understand that. But it's a that line. Yeah. That line, we always know when that line is crossed, and unfortunately, like I say, at the moment, there's many a fan, whether it's an individual or not. We're not having a go at the whole Liverpool fan base. No. Because of what happened the other night.
It's
but
isolated incident.
It's an isolated
incident. Yeah. It's isolated individuals, and that one idiot who decides to go and do that then spoils it for, like you say, for the rest of the fan base.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not everyone's like that or things like that.
Absolutely. So, anyway,
let's talk football, because there has been some great football this weekend, and everyone's been predicting who they think is going to win the league. But now we've seen everyone play, all the big kahunas, if you like, play this weekend. So very straightforward. Who do you think, on the basis of what we've seen so far over the last couple of days, we're recording this on Monday, if you're listening on Wednesday or Thursday, who do you think is going to win the league?
The obvious answer was Liverpool would retain it. And for me, I think Liverpool are a couple of pieces away from a dynasty. I think Liverpool could if they got the right personnel through the door in this transfer window, if they really pushed.
In what position?
I feel like if they get the centre-half what they needed, or they desperately need, not needed. If they get the centre half they need, and if they get Isak, I think they dominate for me.
You're a striker. What has Isak got that makes him so special?
I think Isak is a moments player, personally. I think if you see him, he has, has so many different attributes. What a lot of players have one of. He's got multiple attributes. What makes him, for me, the better one in the league. In terms of movement, pace, finishing ability. His variety of finishes. He's got some crosses, he's got some through balls, he hits things first time, he side foots, he smashes, he's on the move, always shoulders open when he's facing the goal, he's a threat in behind, he can hold it up, he can play as a one, he can play out wide. So for me, he is the best one. But even in that, how much I'm bigging him up there, I still think he does it in moments. I really do.
Interesting.
I think he does do it in moments and flashes, and then there'll be times where he's got a thigh injury and he's like, does he really fancy it? I don't know. Like, I always look at him and think, you're right, you. Because if he really was 100 every week, you'd be at 30 plus goals.
Do you think then that, if he's a moments player, then he's worth £150 million?
I think he is, because I think moments players are special as well. And he decides games with his moments of brilliance and his moments of quality. And if you look at the games he decided last year, the Carabao Cup final, he's pivotal in that. Yeah. I think a couple of times when Newcastle won at home at St James's Park, where they beat Arsenal and things like that, I feel like he comes alive in big games. I watched him at Old Trafford, and it destroyed Man United.
That's right, yeah, I remember that one. Is he right in what he's doing now to try and get this move?
No. And I think as a player, I can say that with my hand on my heart, I was in his position a couple of times. I'd explained my desire to leave football clubs, but I didn't down tools.
Give us an example.
Well, it was at Norwich, we went down, we hit the reset button. A lot of the older pros left, and I had an opportunity to leave. The club was going in another direction, to rebuild a little bit of, trying to stabilise again. And I went to the sporting director and said, look, you've had good offers in for me. Like, why are you not letting me go? Sort of thing. It's just like, we can't let you go, and we value you at this, and someone else has only paid this amount of money for you. And I'm just like, but it's still good money what you're getting for me. And it was wild, because we ended up having a big falling out about it. Stormed out there, and then I had a conversation with the manager. Said, look, I'm not happy, but I respect you as a manager, our head coach, and my attitude will remain the same. I'll still train, I'll continue to play and give my all, but disappointed. And then we had the conversation, and that was in the window, in the summer window, the January window. the sporting director spoke to me and said, "Do you still want to go? Because we've got more bids in for you." And then I was just like, yeah, because I wanted to leave them, but they took less money, and I was just like, it just makes zero sense. you just cost yourself £3 million. You took £3 million less 6 months or 4 months later.
Excuse me.
It's wild. And then we was on better terms then with the sporting director, and we said like, look, it was a bit more amicable, and we got the deal done, and it was probably in the best interest of both parties at that particular moment. But yeah, I just don't agree with Isak.
All right, so Troy's asked a really good question, because I think there are lots of people, you clearly haven't, but there are lots of people within football, celebrated names, who have done what Isak has done. You've seen it. You'll have been around and in dressing rooms, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%. And it happens, look, and I think in today's game, even more so, the players have got that much power because they're on that much money. Their value is worth so much to football clubs that they can almost strong arm a football club into what they want them to do.
But shouldn't players have power? I keep hearing this term player power as if players shouldn't have any power, as though they're pieces of meat. Why should players not have any power?
Not that I don't think they should have too much power. I think there should be a bit of more of a balance. But I feel like with the finances involved, I feel like players can have a little bit too much power at times.
Being a player,
yeah, I know, but I feel like
have any power.
It's the industry, so like you've got to have a little bit of power, but you've got to also take control of your own situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like Isak's doing that. He's gone, well, hang on a minute, I'm seeing XYZ on XYZ, and everyone's always saying, applauding how good I am, how great I am. Put me on this pedestal, and in terms of the rankings of the number 9s in the league, the number 9s in the world, is the best one, is the hottest one, and I'm down here on this amount of money. And obviously, no one's known what's gone on before in terms of what was promised him, what wasn't. Obviously, the reports were he was supposedly to get a new deal, and that's not materialised for whatever reason. But he's probably looking around going, well, if I'm one of the best ones in the league, and you've got 5-10 other ones in front of me who are not as good as me, getting double what I'm getting, hang on a minute. And he's looking at Newcastle and going, you're spending money, you're supposed to have this ownership group, what are going to put their hands in their pockets and try and grow because you've sold me a project, that's why I came here, because it's supposed to be a project.
Would you do the same?
I'd be saying, double me up, my wages, I want to leave, but I'd still train. Because then he's killing himself, because then if he goes, for example, he goes to Liverpool, which is looks like the only team in the race for him, he's got to hit the ground running because of the price tag then.
The only thing I'd say, and we had a discussion on this previously, is that it's all right for clubs when they decide that they don't want you and they banish you to the under-21s and you've got to eat your lunch out on the steps and they don't care. I'm talking about a particular club here, by the way. You just use a term there, piece of meat. When clubs want to use players like a piece of meat...
Yeah, you can be disposable.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's got to work it's got to work fairly for both parties, isn't it? Like the club side of things and the player side of things. And I always think there's always a way to get to a
halfway point.
It's just how you get there.
Yeah.
What's the situation where, even though you wouldn't do it, you did have sympathy for another player that you saw doing it?
Don't name the player.
It can be life changing.
It
can be life changing, can't it?
Yeah.
So, for example, let me try and get some context into this.
I'll give an example. I think I'm not saying Gareth Bale went on strike, but if Gareth Bale didn't make it clear to Tottenham,
he forced the move,
that he wanted to force the move, he would not have how many Champions Leagues?
No, of course
under
not.
his belt now.
And I feel like, but that's a conversation where you find a middle ground,
like you spoke about,
for the good of everybody. So Tottenham get a record fee at the time. Gareth Bale gets a move to the biggest club in the world, which he deserved, and I think everybody is happy. But he might have had to force the conversation and really be adamant what he wants and clear. And like I said about that, you take control of your situation as a football player.
And Spurs got 7 players out of that, by the way. I'm not saying that they did anything, but they got 7 players out of that.
Even Paddy's laughing.
But yeah, you got to take control.
But who's the player that has done it and you thought to yourself...
I can't think of someone off the top of my head straight away directly who I'd say he got that, but I'm saying, for example, if a player is moving from, say a top, or not even a top championship club, but a championship club, and you've got Premier League interest, for example, and the player's of an age where he might not get that opportunity again. So he's got to then go, well, it's my aspiration as a footballer to play in the Premier League. We're not getting there together at this particular club. I've got an opportunity there to go and progress and further my career at the highest level. Like, don't stand in my way.
So are you friendly with all the clubs that you've left?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say I've got good relations with all my clubs. Yeah, because I feel like I've always been committed, respectful. I've worn my heart on my sleeve. I've never sat at a club where, even though I've had opportunities to, I've not maybe been in favour and just sat there and collected money. I've always gone, right, if I'm not playing, I need to go and play. I want to go and play, because I'm not in this game to not play football. So I've took less money at times. I've took a drop in divisions to maybe try and push and get promoted another, back to that division with other clubs, because I want to play football.
Okay. I asked you who's going to win the league. Who's going to win the league?
You've asked me every single week, and I've said the same thing. Liverpool Football Club at the moment. One game does not change my opinion. I agree with Cameron. They're very open, Liverpool, weren't they? And maybe Slot is now impressing his style of play, and the openness that I saw did worry me. I mean, if Bournemouth have got in twice, and that's not to disrespect Bournemouth, there'll be games when he can't play that way. Can the person that they're looking to buy at centre-back really change that? I'm not so sure. So they have to think about... Remember, Gravenberch didn't play as well, and he's pivotal to what Liverpool did last year, and I think him in a role, those gaps just to run straight through don't happen. But I'm particularly if they get the centre forward, I'm still going for Liverpool.
It's weird, because I actually think Liverpool do need to make a signing, but I think at defensive midfield, I know they've got Gravenberch, but if Gravenberch is injured or suspended, particularly if you're up against a big team with good players in their midfield, then you're in trouble.
How many teams is that?
Say again?
How many teams is that?
What do you mean?
Big players, big midfield.
Well, I look at, for example, Real Madrid, outstanding midfield. PSG, outstanding midfield. Manchester City, outstanding midfield. Arsenal, very impressive. I think Arsenal win the league. Their midfield is full of craft, steel, creativity.
I know they won yesterday, but they weren't.
It wasn't pretty to watch, but it doesn't. They are. You will know better than me. They are the key matches. They're not good to watch.
Beating Arsenal at Wembley.
Well, exactly.
We did a number of them as well, which they did at Old Trafford yesterday, to be fair. But I get the point, though. I know what you mean about Arsenal. I just don't think Arsenal have got the firepower to win the league. They haven't got someone who's going to get 25 goals for them. They haven't got someone who's going to go and get 18 behind that 25. And what Arsenal have become is efficient. They've become resilient.
Definitely.
They've become not as easy in the eye, but it's about victories. Like Darren alluded to, Arsenal have become very much like workman-like. So they're not easy in the eye.
And that's surprising considering the players they have in the team. The progressive nature of the wide players. Zubimendi, I thought, had a decent game yesterday. So it's and the fullbacks. The fullbacks are very important. And obviously we saw 4 fullbacks on show yesterday. And it's interesting because Liverpool did that as well. They swapped and changed out both fullbacks as well. So that's an interesting way. But there's something about Arsenal that I just don't get. And this is Arsenal 0.6 now for Arteta. And I'm seeing they're not even making finals. They're not even. Do you know what I mean? Everyone could say, "Oh, we're finishing runners up." That will hurt
it's
them.
as good as last.
Really.
Well, if you're not winning it.
Exactly.
It's good for the finances, but ultimately for me, I just think if you're not winning games of football, not winning trophies, and like you say, not competing to get to finals, then you have to sort of.
What else is there?
What else is there?
So the fact that Man City they'd finished behind Man City, and then when Man City tailed off, people were going, "Oh, it's going to be Arsenal's title, isn't it?" And then Liverpool come in, and it's Liverpool's title. So I don't know where this Arsenal team pitches itself.
So Liverpool. If
they
get what they need to get.
But I agree with you. I think they need a defensive midfield as well. I feel like some of the teams do this year, but the focus is on forwards this year. Everyone's recruiting forwards because everyone's short, and not only because everyone's short, there's a lot available. So like the market has just been like
saturated by
saturated with some good centre forwards who have come available where they wasn't available last year. Or a bit more of a
it was harder to get them.
Or risk because they've not had that consistent time or period where they've done it consistently, so it was a bit like, we're not quite sure, we'll have a look next year. So I think a lot of good forwards are available this year, and I feel like a lot of teams, I think United need a holder, I think Liverpool need a holder, I think Arsenal, like you said, they've got them types in there. I think City have got them types. Obviously Rodgers out for a little bit.
It's very interesting because I thought Manchester United played well yesterday, and I looked at their obviously 2 recruits up front, and I thought to myself, them 2 are going to be a handful for anybody. Yeah. But I don't know what Mainu has done. I don't know what he's done not to be included, because there were a moment there where I actually thought, well, he should be introduced as well. But there's obviously something between him and the manager where I don't think he's going to get a lot of football, and there was reports of him leaving anyway. And they clearly need something else in that centre of the park, despite what, like I said, the 2 boys, the 2 new signings have done.
Yeah, I feel like he's not having Mainu at all. And I think I kind of know why. But yeah, he's just...
Tell me, because I'll get Spurs to put a bid in for him.
I just think with Amaron's style, his energy, athleticism, and I don't feel he sees Mainu as being able to cover the ground or being athletic enough for him.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly...
By the way, Casemiro's playing.
I know, and
that's not disrespectful.
But Casemiro's more disciplined and is more experienced with his discipline. So he does it in a smart way. He doesn't press off sync. He doesn't go into gaps what he should hold.
Yeah, I understand that. And by the way, one of my favourite players.
Yeah, I think his resurgence has been really good, Casemiro's. To be honest with you, I feel like he's another one who's come under criticism, and rightly so, because of what he's done in the game and the levels he's set himself. But then I feel like he's then almost gone, right, you know what, I'm going to roll my sleeves up and I'm going to really knuckle down and I'm going to get fitter, because there was question marks over his weight when he come back from pre-season last year. So it looks like it's trimmed down, he's really got the bit between his teeth, and he's almost got a point to prove.
Absolutely, I think he's proven it as well. One thing I want to cover, Darren, is Crystal Palace. There was a goal chalked off yesterday. Free kick from Eza, looked an amazing free kick. Mark Guillet leaning on to create the space. And this rule that the Premier League have, or the PGMO have, where you're supposed to be 1 metre away, but the rule's been in since 2019, am I correct? And there's never been anyone pulled up for it. Goal or not a goal?
It's a goal. For me, it's a goal. But like you said, there's rules in play they're never forced, are they?
I've been corrected, by the way. The producer said to me it was IFAB that put the rule in, so let's just get that in there. Let's not have a go at the PGMO, which I normally do.
Well, it's like the old, they brought this 8-second rule in on a corner. It was 7 seconds for years, but when did that ever get enforced? Never. I'm like, ref.
No, but you know what will happen? They'll do it for a time, and then all of a sudden they did it, and then it will. We've forgotten about that.
But there's rules in football that are never enforced. That's the point I'm trying to make, and I feel like that one there, it's obviously been there for however long it's been there for. Like you can't be a metre away from the opposition wall. Yeah, you must be more than a metre away. It's harsh. It's very, very harsh. But what I would say is, I want to see consistency, like everybody else, with the handballs, with the pulling of shirts, with the holding in the box.
Kicks,
just
consistency.
Just give us consistency, and then it doesn't create too much of a debate.
I want to talk about your career. It's being given flowers and love to so many other people, and you've had a fantastic career. Just over 21 years, you started at Middlesbrough, right? But Cardiff said that you're one of the rising stars of football. What do you remember about the start of your career?
I was just saying earlier off camera, just the love and support I had from all the pros, just really helped me get a foothold in the game. Really, we had such a good experienced changing rooms at the time at Cardiff, and it was myself and Joe Ledley, who was 2 young players who was coming through at the time, and just the way the dealings, what the first team boys had with us, and kept us grounded. Was playing games but still doing jobs. I was still cleaning the captain's boots, Graham Kavanagh. So it was that grounding.
Did you need that?
I didn't need it in that sense, but that was just the way things were then.
Right, okay.
So I think, almost be like, look, don't get too big for your boots, kid. You know what I mean? Okay, you're with the first team now and you're playing games, but there's still the element of, look, you're still a young player, so there's that sort of you've still got to go through that phase of earning the right to be there. So that was interesting, because it was the captain who I was doing.
That's Paddy, by the way. Don't worry, you're allowed to, Paddy.
He thought to himself, they haven't even mentioned that I'm here yet. I'm just going to throw a random cough in the way.
He was next to me turning purple, so I had to let him do it. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was one of them where I was still cleaning boots till halfway through the season, and then the captain was like, look, you don't have to do them no more. I think you're 20 games in or something, or whatever it was.
So you're cleaning boots even though you were making...
I'm playing for the first team, yeah. I'm cleaning the captain's boots.
Wow.
So, but he come to me in the Christmas deal and was just like, you don't have to do it no more. I was like, they'll still get paid. The boot tip. It's always the best time to talk at a Christmas do, yeah?
The funny thing is, people say that players shouldn't do that now. It's demeaning.
People are saying that it should be brought back. That players should be doing it. They flipped it.
There's a split. Yeah. There's a split.
If you was an apprentice in a garage for a mechanic, what would you be doing?
Well, you wouldn't be cleaning the other mechanic's boots.
No, but what would you be doing? You're missing the point.
But you're working on cars and doing all.
So the boss is going to let you work on cars straight away, or would he let you observe? Would you make teas? Would you go and get all the tools for the other mechanics?
It's a good question.
Yeah,
but it's absolutely a good question. But I suppose my question is, you would have to do all those things, but would you clean the other mechanic's shoes? That's the thing.
Yeah, but his shoes are not his tools.
Yeah.
You'd clean up the tools.
Yeah.
And the football boots are the tools in football. Like, the
I
wrench and other things are the tools. Being a mechanic. I feel like it's almost... Look, when you're an apprentice, you come straight from school. So I think it's character building, it's life skills.
Yeah.
It's learning about responsibility. So it's almost like to be responsible. You're in between you're still a minor, turn into a young adult. So I feel like it's a responsibility thing we've got to get the balls ready for the first team, or we've got to get the equipment ready, we've got to do certain things which are making us responsible, because we're a group of players, we're a team now.
Yeah.
So we've got to, as a team, make sure all the jobs are done, and then we go to our youth team manager and we say, look, we've done all the jobs, and he'll come and check and go, yeah, it's
kind of collective responsibility.
It's collective responsibility as a team, because that's what it is. That's what the game is. I feel like there's certain things what should be done, and obviously there's certain things you shouldn't have to do really, but it depends.
Favourite manager?
I always say Steve Bruce, because I was a Man United fan, and growing up watching Steve play and be so successful for Man United. When he took me from Cardiff to Birmingham, he was just such a good man manager. Like his all energy and the way he was, and just bringing the squad together, the boys together. And we had such a good youthful squad at the time. So it was pubs on a Sunday, that sort of thing, at the right time, of course. Yeah. And obviously being young boys, we might try and go out on the town a few times, and it always catches and get us into trouble and stuff like that, and give us a good rollicking. But he was good. I really liked Steve, and he was a bit still wanting to join in, still showing he could play a little bit. So it
two-footed you? Did he two-foot you at all?
No, but you couldn't nutmeg him. But he could nutmeg you. But he'd join in the boxes on a Friday. He'd make training fun. He'd make it all about the group and the boys, and it's just it was just some real good memories.
What's the goal that you tell all your mates about when you're having a few drinks, a barbecue? What's the goal that always for you, either the one that you tell them about or the one that they ask you about?
Everyone always asks me about the one at Anfield squad for Liverpool, squad against Liverpool for Birmingham, where I brought it down sort of in the centre circle, drove a few yards and shot, but Pepe was sort of waving didn't know where it was going. There's a little bit of wobble on the ball.
Love that.
But yeah, it was there's that one, and I scored one for Stoke a few years later, which was quite a good one as well, where I sort of hit 1.5.
What's the one? Is that the one that you're proudest of? Or that's the one they ask you about?
I think that's the ones that people remember me for. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like that's what. I remember you scored that goal for and that's what sort of people always ask me, like random people. I don't actually talk about football with my friends. I talk about, we have general football chats with friends, but not about me. I'd never want to sort of say about when I did this or did that. Like,
where did you have? What club was it where you felt, this is home, that you enjoyed yourself the most? You enjoyed your football, you enjoyed off the pitch, you enjoyed everything about your time, your spell?
I think Norwich.
Yeah.
I think because I was mature as a player, so I understood my game inside out.
Right.
So I understood what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. I think moving on over a young family was such a nice part of the world to live.
It is, yeah.
It's a lovely part of the world to raise children. And just the success we had in terms of getting back to promoted to the Premier League. Obviously, it was through the playoffs at Wembley, so that was special as well. The best way to get promoted, in my opinion.
Why?
I just feel like if you can get automatic promotion off the back of someone else not getting a result, so it can almost be done. It'd always been done. I'd been promoted a few times that way, where we'd played on the Saturday and someone else had their next game. If they win,
had to.
You know, you're up, and it's just like, oh well, you've not actually had a game where there was something on the line, which was a 50-50 game where winner takes all. And that is the best way because of the pressure, the energy, the atmosphere. The occasion is such a momentous occasion because what's at stake is massive in terms of the prize from getting promoted from the Championship to the Premier League.
Something you said struck me. You
Go on.
You said that you matured as a footballer at Norwich. When you're a mature footballer, what are the things in football that you notice that football doesn't talk about enough?
Experiences. I think you've trodden the path then a few times, and you sort of know the game inside out as you're a mature player, an experienced player around changing rooms, football clubs, whatever you want to call it. I feel like you see things then materialising and
See, I was about to say financial responsibility. Yeah, there are lots of players who get lots of money because you guys work in a fantastic ecosystem, but there are so many players that don't have a clue what to do with all the money they're earning.
I feel like that can happen at any time though, whether you're young or old. I feel like I alluded to earlier, take control of your situation. You're an adult at 18, but okay, the first couple of years you might have bad guidance, bad advice, but you learn your lesson, or you should learn your lesson throughout that. And I feel like the industry is shark-infested waters in terms of there's so many murky people involved in the industry what prey on young players who a lot of players come from disprivileged backgrounds, perhaps fractured, homes, family dynamics. So a lot of people are uneducated about finance,
the management of
money, the management of image, a career, these sort of things. So I feel like you can sort of see people going down them routes almost at times because you've seen it all before. So as you get older, you've seen people who are potentially doing things where you think, not sure you should be doing that.
Would you let your son get into football?
Both my sons play football, and if I said to them, look, you play for the love of it and enjoy it, but if you want to get serious about it, then you'll have to take it serious because it is becoming ever so more competitive. I feel like football was, in my opinion, a working class sport. I feel like it's gone up to middle class now for me.
That's really interesting.
I've said it for the last. Football is a middle class. It's a middle class game now. It's like rugby union football.
Oh wow!
What do you mean by that?
When I was growing up playing football, I was out in the street. The world's a different place in that aspect. Society's different. You can't just take yourself off with your mates to a field. There's no fields anyway for a start because everything's becoming 3G and commercialised for money. So there's no fields for kids to play on. There's not a lot of safe parks for kids to go in nowadays with how much violence and crime is out there. Social media, technology, all these things now, what are available for the generation of youth of today, it wasn't available 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So when I was playing out as a kid growing up in Huddersfield, I was eating my tea, out the door, and I was just looking, where's the kids, where's the boys? Like, if they're not on that field, they're on other fields. So I'm running as fast as I can to get there because you want to go and play, and then literally, if they're not there, you go into the other field where you know they're going to be, and people just come, you just join in, you make friends, you go and play games of football, and you're just out all day playing and socialising. Where there was a term used, estate kids. In terms of kids on estates, you see a lot of it now in the cages in London, but estate kids where kids are playing the estate, you play all day every day football and stuff like that, whereas the kids, they ain't doing that now. So then there's the emergence of private practitioners, private coaches who then charge for private sessions, and I feel like that's only accessible to
a certain level.
Yeah.
Just last one for me, Cameron. It's great insight, and I'd love to talk about your career as such, but obviously just for the purpose of what we're doing here, tell us what you've done since you've... have you officially retired,
Yeah, officially retired last year. I've never really announced it, but in my head I was officially retired last year. I mean, since I sort of stopped playing last year, The last game was actually at Wembley, playoff final of the
He's
3-2.
thrown in Wembley again.
I know, I keep mentioning it.
Got it, flaunt it.
But yeah, do you know what? Be proud of it. Why not?
Of course.
So yeah, I didn't manage to get anything what tickled my fancy after that sort of.
So there were
bottlenecks.
offers.
There was 1 or 2 offers out there. Yeah, maybe would require travelling or required a project that I wasn't too sure about. I didn't really fancy. So I was just like, nah, it's got to be my terms now. I've earned the right to sort of be able to say yes or no to things. So since that, I just sort of decided I was going to stop. Started my consultancy business, all online, helping strikers. So I did a lot of studying, a lot of research. I've done a lot going to different clubs, observing different clubs, giving presentations and showing them what services I offer. Doing a lot with individual players, reaching out to agents saying, look, you know, I'm working privately and impartially. I can help be an extension of what the work you're doing with your players, but to mentor them on the basis of improving them as a footballer, especially from a striker's perspective, because that's the position I played all my career. That's the only position I know. So I feel like the back end of my career, sort of 2-3 years at Luton and Bolton, the conversations I had with the managers about me coming in was exactly that, to be that senior figure in the changing rooms, to be that sort of player what the younger players can go and ask questions about and learn from and look up to. So then I thought, you know what, I kind of went into that sort of the last 2-3 years, so I thought that was a natural thing to me to then carry on doing myself, because I've been doing it anyway.
Absolutely, brilliant.
Yeah, so
Brilliant.
It's been brilliant. It's been a fantastic chat. I do need to find out with tea, what the difference is between tea and dinner, but I'll ask you that afterwards.
It's a northern thing.
Cameron, Jerome, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.